Hey, okay, joining me again with this mission, and today I will share with you on this episode of Missions Workout from Home, season 4, episode number 6. So today we're going to talk about how to have your simple guide to healthy eating. Alright, so this is actually the more detailed version of the why 2021 is good time to lose weight. So we talk about like how to lose weight. You have to be on a calorie deficit. That means reducing calories. You also want to make sure you are eating some sort of basic healthy food as well. So today we'll dive in a little bit more detail what I mean by safe, what I mean by healthy, or how you can use it, and also to create your own meal. And most important is to avoid you from falling into some scams. Alright, so I know it's January usually, or especially now MCO is a tough time to do business. You will see a lot of people trying to sell you various products. So hopefully with this chart I want to show you, gives you some idea how you can fend yourself away. Right? So of course I know it's inverted again, but I'll put in the comments later on this whole picture. Right, so the picture is so again, whatever diet you choose it has to meet two criteria. Number one, it has to be sustainable, right? If you cannot follow, you cannot do it for the next 3-4 months, you have to be prepared. All the weight you lose, you're going to gain back. Alright, things just work like that. Number two is whatever diet you do, it's very simple and straightforward. In fact, the more boring it is, you are on a better chance to win. Right? I say it a lot of times, I'm going to say it one more time, is that if you cannot explain your diet to a 12-year-old kid, how you're eating or why you're eating like this, the diet is just not for you. Right? So I'm going to move this over here so you guys can have a look. Right? So the guide to healthy eating is very simple. Of course, calories is important, but we put that aside. You just want to focus on these three things, right? Some sort of high protein sources, some sort of plain carbohydrates. That means, for example, rice is a carbohydrate, right? So you want to choose white rice instead of fried rice. Example, you want to have pasta instead of having instant noodles, right? So these are just examples, yeah, right? And then we want to focus some sort of fruits and vegetables. So I repeat, yeah, high protein, plain carbohydrates, and also a lot of fruits and vegetables. If you find these three criteria, you will be able to be a very good spot to lose weight already. Alright, even if your goal is not to lose weight, it's to gain muscle. It's very similar also, because you got to have the right feel to do the right job, right? For example, if you drive a car, let's say we need to run by petrol, right? Putting diesel is not going to help. So you want to make sure you put the right fuel for the right body, alright? So you notice I put protein, so you can just Google high protein food sources. You're going to get plenty of all this stuff, yeah? So for example, you will see chicken, fish, beef. If you're vegetarian, tofu, tempeh, protein powder, and so on. Alright? So second, you want to have some sort of plain carbohydrates. So the plain carbohydrates is like you said, rice, bread, pasta, noodles. Keep the food as plain as possible. I'll explain the 3-2-1 formation for you later, yeah? And then last but not least, it has to have some fruits, vegetables. Alright? So why? Because if you do all this, number one, for most people, if a lot of people tell me I cannot lose weight, if you go by all these defaults, it's a very fair chance you will be losing weight already, right? Now the goal is not to avoid any food group. The goal is keep your food as efficient as possible, right? So don't go and attempt to. A lot of people when they want to lose weight, they will eat like what we call a goat like that. So you just eat grass, that's it. Right? Don't do that. If you do that, number one, remember, it cannot be sustainable. And number two, you cannot explain to a 12-year-old kid So you're asking for trouble. If you cannot meet these two criteria, then you got problem, right? Now, why all this? Why have protein? Protein is good for building muscle. If you lose weight at the expense of muscle, number one, you will drop metabolism quite fast. Number two is if you drop a lot of muscle, in terms of appearance wise, you look very loose, alright? You don't look very firm, you know, whether the tone or firm. Having some muscle can and will help the situation, hence having more protein. Carbohydrates is more for like a fuel, source of fuel. So, like I say, if you are using petrol for car, carbohydrates will be our preferred source of fuel, right? You notice in marathon, people will eat banana or bread for running. Nobody chew a butter or eat nuts to run, right? It doesn't work like that. So, last but not least, you want to have some sort of fruits and vegetables. Again, you do follow this track, these three things, you're good to go already, to be very honest, alright? Fruits and vegetables is for your vitamin purposes, alright? And also to increase your fiber, and also to increase satiety. Satiety means you getting more full in your meal, right? So if you do all these things, instead of just like eating only, like I say, like a goat like that, just eat grass and stuff. Problem number one, if you eat like grass and everything, it's not sustainable. Number two, you are maybe missing out, like I say, have some of this protein for muscles and so on, right? Yeah, and number three, if you do it properly, here's the deal. If you eat this properly, right, you actually feel more full and not actually more hungry. A lot of my clients, they always tell me, hey, you know what, ever since we start this diet thing, I always feel more full. In fact, I think I eat a lot. Am I on the right track? You are on the right track, because if you are eating a lot of food and you still can lose weight, it's a win, right? Why suffer, right? You should suffer, but not too soon, right? So what is this 3, 2, 1? Oh, sorry, maybe I use the hand first. So how much, people ask, how much protein should I eat? How much plain carbohydrate should I eat? How much vegetables should I eat? You can use hand as estimation, right? So this is for the palm, okay? Palm for the protein. Palm size, yeah? Palm size means, wait there. Okay, palm size means from here to here, not here. Here to here, okay? Right, done. So this one we talk about fist size, so the entire fist lah, right? And as for this is a handful of vegetable. It's like as much as you can, but whatever you do, keep it, keep moderation in key lah. But you have all this, you follow all this, the hand portion wise, you should be on the right track already. Okay, so what is this 3, 2, 1? Very simple only. Okay, so follow this 3, 2, 1 approach. 3 meaning you have these 3 of food, right? The 3 foods of nutrients: the protein, the carbs, and you notice I never draw fats here, because if you have your meal, by default you will put some oil to cook, so fat is there already, right? Even you steam everything, you can always substitute from fat sources, right? Maybe you have an avocado, nuts, seeds, and so on. So 3 types of, make sure you fit these 3 criteria. 2, what does this 2, right? So we talk about how to reduce weight, right? To lose weight is to reduce calories, right? So to reduce calories, the lazy way is to reduce your food volume. I am not a fan of reduced food volume, because I would like to eat, you ought to eat up also. So meaning, if you can help to reduce your, what is that called? You can reduce your calories via the way it's being prepared or the cooking method, right? So example, whatever cooking method you choose, it should not have more than 2 types of process, right? So I'll explain what it means. So let's say if you order this food, right? So going back to this is rule number 2, the one where you got to explain to a 12-year-old kid, alright? So it should be very straightforward. Okay, even blur. Alright, so you should only have 2 cooking methods in a single dish. So for example, right, if you have let's say example, you have a chicken. It's a steamed chicken with soy sauce, and it has mushrooms. So there's only two cooking methods. You steam it and then maybe you stir fry it. You're done, right? But if you have, example, curry chicken with assorted spice, and then you deep fry the chicken before you cook the curry chicken. Then the curry chicken also, the sauce you add coconut milk. So you see there's a lot of method going in already. There's more than two already. So to avoid this, to avoid unnecessary additional calories, so besides the rule, the 3, 2, 1, the 2 comes into play. So 2 means maybe example using the chicken, maybe the curry chicken you should just okay, you stir fry the chicken and then, or you just cook everything in one pot, that's it, you let it go, right? So just to keep things simple like this, so keep these 3 criteria with 2 cooking method at maximum, right? So another example, like we use rice. This is my favorite example. If you have white rice, how straightforward it is. It's only one way. You cook the rice, you put the rice cooker, there is water, that's it. Right? Maybe you put a bit of salt, pepper, that's it, done, right? But if you go and do a fried rice, cook the rice, you put the oil, you what is that called? You fry the rice. After you fry the rice, and then you add some sort of sauce, some sort of gravy, then you're asking for trouble lah, because there's oil and then there's so many additional ingredients. So 2 cooking method at most is good already, right? And what my one as in handle it 1 meal at a time, right? For most people, they always yes, planning ahead is important, but unfortunately most people don't plan. They are just stressed on it. So what you want to do is settle 1 meal at a time. Ask yourself, can you handle this meal? How are you going to do it? As if it's your last meal to make your best shot like that, right? That means you treat every meal seriously lah, if you will, alright? So I pretty much explained everything already, actually, all in one graph, alright? So quick recap: have some protein, carbohydrates, some sort of vegetables. Cooking method, keep it low, doing the 3, 2, 1 formation. 3 of these criteria, not more than 2 cooking method, and 1 is do it 1 meal at a time. You do it properly, you try this for around 1 or 2 months, pretty sure you're going to see some results, right? Without, if anything but, most people tell me this is perhaps one of the easiest way to lose weight, right? Now you don't have to track calories or anything yet. Do your basics first, because if, example, yes, calories important, but it doesn't. You want to promote good habits first. If you have good habits, chances are you will be more successful. All right. So for example, right, if your goal is to let's say if your goal is to save money, right, instead of focusing how many extra jobs I should take, how much lattes I should cut, maybe you should check how your spending habit is. Are you a lot of debt? Maybe you want to clear the debt first, right? Or maybe you want to unsubscribe some service that you don't use. Do all these simple things first. So same, just like diet, don't clean up too much first. Do this simple thing. Every meal, can you have some sort of protein? Can you have some sort of carbohydrates? Can you have some sort of fruits and vegetables? Right? So there's pretty much no excuse lah, for most people. You can and will be able to do it, right? So again, I'm giving you these are examples. A lot of people tell me, oh, breakfast, I don't feel like eating chicken, so of course I cannot get my protein. That's not necessarily true. If you think about it, I use breakfast for example. You can have milk, low-fat milk preferably, if your goal is to lose weight. I can have low-fat milk. I have some 2 slices of bread with some eggs, right? See, it's quite simple, and then I have some sort of fruits, right? Or another example is I can have some high-protein yogurt, right? High-protein low-fat yogurt, Greek yogurt or whatsoever, right? Then you have some sort of fruits inside. Yeah, pretty much done already, right? So as you can see, there's a lot of ways. So don't say I cannot do this meal or that meal. Every meal you can do some sort of high-protein diet. It's just whether you want to do or not, alright? Lunch and dinner, I think very straightforward. We give a lot of examples just now already. So now we'll tell you what to do. So now we go to the third topic, how to avoid all the scams and fantasy, right? Number one, this is because I don't want you to fall into the traps in all this, right? Because all these things, not only it doesn't work, evidence is very little, and if anything but, I think you lose more money than you lose weight. All right, so you really want to understand how this works. All right, so what you don't want to do is number one, to rely on what I call external sources lah. For example, you don't want to rely on fat loss pills, or some weird method where you wrap around your waist. You call it the waist trainer. Apparently, if you wear it, you're going to lose a few. You reduce your inch, or wraps, or whatever you call fat cream, and so whatsoever. So why you don't want to do all this? Even if, heaven forbids, it really works, it doesn't teach you good habits, because what do you do when you don't have the cream, right? So to avoid this, we would prefer you to be autopilot, right? We want you to be independent. So what you want to do is actually to reduce, try to avoid all these things for now, alright? Besides the risk reward, I think the risk is higher than the reward. Alright, you can show me anything, any of this product, alright, that they can help you to lose weight without the person going on a calorie deficit. Meaning, chances are, if all the losing weight program works, it's not because of all these things. It's because at the same time they also jaga makan. That's why they can lose weight via the jaga makan. Those products are just bucking into the system, right? So you don't want to fall into this fallacy, right? So because I don't know, it's January, you want to find some new way. Sure, got someone in the market is going to sell you some weird stuff, especially those waist trainer, you name it out, or you wear there's electric shock in the body, having fat loss pill. All this is not it shouldn't be your thing at the first place. And then they have a lot of health claims also, very bold claims, right? Or detox tea or whatever. So you want to avoid all this. Do the real work first, right? So meaning, go back to here. Again, do a quick recap, so you can always watch back the video. So what you want is have high protein sources, high carbohydrates, and also the high fruits and vegetables. Every meal, nail it. Try to nail every single meal like this, alright? You should be 3-2-1 approach, meaning you should have 3 of these criteria, and it's only 2 sorts of cooking method, right? So example, you don't want to have fried fish in a thick gravy. Instead, you should just either have the fried fish or have the fish being steamed in some sort of gravy. That's it. Don't complicate things. In fact, like I say, your food should be very plain and simple. A 12-year-old kid can understand what is in the food, right? You just want to spice up everything, curry up everything, gravy everything up. You really have to ask yourself, does it fit your goal or not, right? So the goal is you want to be on the deficit. To be on the deficit, make sure you have the 3-2-1 approach. And if you do it for 1-2 months, I can almost assure you, you are going to see some results, right? So I guess that's it. Thank you so much. You should always rewatch back this video. So I already share the whole simple formula how to lose weight. Notice I did not write a very scientific word. Notice I did not write a lot of, I draw a lot more than I write. So as you can see, it's very plain, simple stuff, right? So it should be very straightforward. And so ask yourself, right, how do you plan your breakfast? Does it meet this criteria? Can you make it better, right? So you shouldn't ask questions like, is egg yolk okay, good or not? Or should I take brown rice or white rice? These are questions you shouldn't be worried for now. A better question is to ask yourself is, does your meal have some sort of protein? Does your meals have some sort of fruits and vegetables? Does your meal have some sort of plain carbohydrates? If your answer is yes to those, don't worry about the small stuff, okay? Don't worry what time I should eat or all those things first, right? It has its place, but but you should master the basics first, right? You don't master the basics, you cannot go very far. I can assure you that, right? People who try to cut corners usually don't even end up in a good place, alright? So that's all from me today. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you all next time on the next episode, alright? So next episode is on Thursday. Thursday I'll be doing some workouts using home workouts. So if you have any questions on the home workouts, you can always ask. Don't be shy. I'm here to help you. So I'll catch you on next week. On next Thursday, this coming Thursday. Alright? So once again, thank you and bye bye.